It reminds me of a quote, a famous quote by Ahmad Kasravi, who said Iran owes a government to mullahs because it lets people to know what kind of people are these clerics, authoritarian
Well,
dictators.
no, it's true. I mean, in the end, and had the clerics lost, we would have had a communist dictatorship in Iran, which might have been very different and might have maybe mellowed sooner, etc. But I don't believe that revolutions produce democracies. And the kind of uprising that we saw in Iran, you promise democracy, but in the end, it ended up being a dictatorship. It wasn't a leftist Marxist dictatorship. It was a religious dictatorship. And let's not forget that between 1980 and 1982, there was largely almost a civil war in Iran between leftists and religious faction over control of the revolution. And the leftists lost that battle, and they paid. It was a very, very bloody battle. But in the end, the people who thought that the revolution would bring democracy were very quickly disabused of that expectation. Literally, in the very first months, the women were told to wear hijab. There was no likelihood of Iran becoming democratic. So in a way, I think Iranians have to accept responsibility for the decisions that they make. The decision not to question where the revolution was going to take Iran before it happened. The responsibility for exaggerating everything that was wrong with the Pahlavi era without ever acknowledging what was right with it. What had it accomplished? Not putting this in a balance. I think it's the responsibility of Iranians. They cannot either say it was foreigners who brought the revolution or that it was only the fault of the mullahs. Yes, the mullahs were the beneficiary, but who empowered the mullahs? It was the millions of Iranians who went into the streets against the Shah that empowered the mullahs, enabled Khomeini to actually carry out that revolution. So I think that's where I think Iranians have to accept responsibility for everything.
We would be naive to think that Khomeini could take power without, support of people.